The automotive world has recently been filled with debate and attention around a situation involving hypercar brand Bugatti and YouTuber car builder Matt Armstrong. The discussion started when Matt began working on rebuilding a crashed Bugatti Chiron, one of the most advanced and expensive cars in the world. This project quickly gained attention online because it is not normal for someone outside the manufacturer to rebuild such a complex machine. As the project grew in popularity, questions started to appear about whether it was safe, realistic, or even allowed to rebuild a car like this without factory support. At the same time, Bugatti released a detailed explanation through their representative, Mate Rimac, describing why they believe independent rebuilds of such vehicles can be risky. After that explanation, however, something unexpected happened. Instead of continuing the conversation or responding to criticism, Bugatti went completely silent. No further statements were made, no clarifications were added, and no public responses were given to the growing debate. This silence itself became the center of attention. People began to wonder if Bugatti's silence meant confidence, indifference, or a carefully planned strategy. On social media, fans and critics started arguing about what the silence really means. Some believe it shows that Bugatti is avoiding pressure, while others think it shows that they already said everything they needed to say. The situation has now turned into more than just a car rebuild story. It has become a larger discussion about corporate communication, public perception, and how major brands respond to online creators who challenge traditional boundaries. This is why the topic continues to grow, as both supporters and critics try to understand the real meaning behind Bugatti's decision to stay silent. The rebuild project led by Matt Armstrong became popular because it involved taking a heavily damaged Bugatti Chiron and attempting to bring it back to life. Matt is known for rebuilding high-performance and luxury cars on his channel, and his audience enjoys watching complex repairs that many people think are impossible. However, the Chiron is not a normal car. It is a highly engineered hypercar with advanced systems, strict safety requirements, and extremely precise manufacturing standards. Because of this, the rebuild immediately raised questions. Many people wondered whether someone outside Bugatti's official service network could properly restore such a machine. As the project progressed, discussions became more intense. Supporters of Matt believe that skilled independent builders can achieve incredible results with enough knowledge and effort. They saw the project as a challenge that proves engineering talent is not limited to factories. On the other hand, critics argue that certain systems in the Chiron, such as safety electronics, structural components, and calibration systems, require factory-level tools and expertise that are not easily replicated. This debate created a strong divide online. Every new update from Matt's rebuild attracted attention and sparked further arguments in the automotive community. The situation became even more controversial when Bugatti officially responded with technical explanations about why they believe such repairs should not be done independently. This added more weight to the discussion and turned the project into a global talking point rather than just a YouTube build series. What started as a restoration project slowly turned into a symbolic battle between independent creativity and manufacturer control, making it one of the most discussed automotive topics online. When Bugatti responded through their representative Mate Rimac, the message focused heavily on technical and safety-related concerns. The explanation highlighted that cars like the Chiron are not simple mechanical machines but highly advanced systems that rely on precise calibration and factory-level equipment. Issues such as airbag systems, structural integrity, electronic control units, and crash safety standards were all mentioned as areas that require official tools and trained technicians. According to Bugatti's position, even small mistakes in these systems could lead to serious safety risks if the car is returned to the road. The explanation also pointed out that certain parts of the car are designed to work together as a complete system, meaning that replacing or repairing individual components without proper synchronization could create unpredictable results. This technical breakdown was detailed and professional, and it aimed to show that the concern was not about reputation alone but about safety and engineering complexity. However, while the message was clear from a technical point of view, it also triggered debate. Some viewers felt that Bugatti was trying to protect their brand image by making independent repair seem impossible. Others believed the explanation was valid and based on real engineering challenges. After this official statement, the expectation was that Bugatti might continue the conversation or respond to questions raised by critics. Instead, the situation changed completely when no further communication came from the company. This sudden silence after such a detailed explanation made the situation even more interesting. It left people wondering whether Bugatti had already said everything necessary or whether they simply chose not to engage in ongoing public debate. This silence became just as important as the original explanation itself. After Bugatti stopped responding publicly, the discussion around the Chiron rebuild did not slow down. In fact, it grew even stronger. Online communities, automotive fans, and content creators began analyzing every detail of the situation. Many people started interpreting Bugatti's silence in different ways. Some believed it meant confidence, suggesting that Bugatti was so sure of their technical position that they felt no need to continue arguing. Others saw it as a way of avoiding further criticism, especially after responses from Matt Armstrong and other creators challenged parts of their explanation. As more videos and comments appeared, the topic turned into a kind of ongoing online debate where everyone had a different opinion. Some viewers focus on the technical side, discussing whether independent rebuilds of hypercars are truly possible. Others focus on the communication side, questioning why a major global brand would choose silence in a situation that was already getting attention. The lack of new statements from Bugatti created a gap that people filled with theories and assumptions. Every new update from Matt's rebuild added more fuel to the discussion, because viewers constantly wonder how Bugatti would react, even though no reaction was coming. This silence made the situation feel more intense than a normal disagreement. Instead of calming the situation, it increased curiosity. People began analyzing the silence itself as if it was a message. This shows how powerful communication gaps can be in the digital age, where absence of information often becomes just as important as information itself. The story was no longer just about a car repair. It became about perception, interpretation, and public narrative. One major theory that emerged from the discussion is that Bugatti actually cares a lot about the outcome of this rebuild, even if they are not speaking publicly about it. Supporters of this idea believe that if Matt Armstrong successfully rebuilds a Chiron without factory support, it could raise questions about Bugatti's claims regarding repair limitations and safety requirements. In this view, success would not just be a personal achievement for Matt, but also a symbolic challenge to the idea that only manufacturers can properly restore such advanced vehicles. People who support this theory argue that Bugatti's silence may be a form of caution. By not responding further, the company avoids giving attention to the rebuild, while still maintaining their original position. They also believe that if the rebuild eventually fails, Bugatti does not need to say anything because the outcome will naturally support their technical arguments. This approach could be seen as a way of protecting the brand without engaging in public conflict. Some fans even suggest that Bugatti may be observing the project closely behind the scenes, documenting its progress for internal analysis or future reference. From this perspective, silence does not mean lack of interest. Instead, it may mean careful observation. The idea is that Bugatti is waiting to see the final result before making any further moves. If the rebuild fails, their position is strengthened without effort. If it succeeds, they can study how it was achieved and respond internally rather than publicly. This theory presents silence as a strategic decision based on risk management and brand protection in a highly visible online environment. Another strong argument is that Bugatti does not actually care about the situation at all, at least not in the way people think. From this point of view, the company already released a detailed explanation through Mate Rimac, and they consider the matter closed. Once they have provided their technical reasoning, they may see no reason to continue engaging in online discussions or responding to criticism from social media creators. In this interpretation, Bugatti operates on a level where YouTube debates and online arguments do not significantly affect their business or reputation. They sell extremely high-value cars to a very small group of customers, and their focus remains on engineering, manufacturing, and long-term brand development rather than online conversations. Supporters of this theory believe that continued engagement with the topic would only create unnecessary attention. Responding again and again could keep the controversy alive longer than necessary. By staying silent, Bugatti allows the situation to fade naturally while maintaining a professional and controlled image. From this perspective, silence is not strategic manipulation. It is simple disinterest in ongoing debate. Once their official position is stated, they move on to more important priorities. This approach is common among large corporations that avoid getting involved in public disputes with individual creators. Instead of participating in back-and-forth discussions, they rely on their original statement and let time settle the matter. In this view, the silence is not emotional or tactical. It is practical. Bugatti has already said what they needed to say, and everything else is considered outside their responsibility or interest. Whether Bugatti's silence comes from strategy or indifference, it highlights an important concept in corporate communication. Silence can be powerful. In many cases, large companies choose not to respond to ongoing public debates because every response carries risk. A new statement could be misinterpreted, criticized, or taken out of context, especially in fast-moving online environments. By staying silent, a company avoids adding fuel to the fire. In the case of Bugatti, their initial explanation already established their position. Continuing the conversation could weaken their authority or shift focus away from engineering and safety arguments. Silence also creates a psychological effect. When a company stops responding, the public conversation shifts direction. Instead of debating the company's words, people begin debating the meaning of the silence itself. This shifts attention away from official statements and places it on interpretation, which is harder to control. In addition, silence can sometimes increase perceived confidence. When a major brand does not react to criticism, it can be seen as a sign that they do not feel threatened by opposing views. However, silence can also have the opposite effect, making people think the company is avoiding pressure. This dual interpretation is what makes the situation so interesting. In modern media environments, companies must carefully decide when to speak and when to remain quiet. Every choice affects public perception. Bugatti's approach shows how silence is not simply the absence of communication. It can be a deliberate communication strategy on its own, shaping how people view both the company and the situation. The future of the situation depends entirely on how the Bugatti Chiron rebuild progresses and what result it eventually produces. If Matt Armstrong successfully completes the rebuild and manages to get the car running safely and legally without factory support, it will become a powerful example of independent engineering skill. It could also challenge assumptions about what is possible outside official manufacturer systems. On the other hand, if the rebuild reaches a point where critical systems cannot be properly repaired or calibrated, it may support Bugatti's original concerns about safety and technical limitations. In that case, the outcome would naturally reinforce their position without them needing to say anything further. This is why their silence plays such an important role. By not engaging, Bugatti allows the results of reality, not public debate, to define the final conclusion. Meanwhile, Matt continues to work through challenges step by step, documenting every stage for his audience. The audience remains divided, with some supporting his effort as an inspiring engineering challenge and others agreeing with Bugatti's caution. In the end, the situation is no longer just about a car rebuild or company response. It has become a larger lesson about modern communication, online influence, and how narratives are shaped in the digital world. Whether Bugatti cared deeply, cared strategically, or did not care at all, only the final outcome of the rebuild will fully answer the questions that people are asking. Until then, the silence continues, and the story remains open to in the end. The entire situation between Matt Armstrong's Bugatti Chiron rebuild and Bugatti itself comes down to one simple reality. The truth will be decided by results, not opinions. Right now, there are only theories, debates, and interpretations of silence. Some people believe Bugatti is carefully watching every step, waiting for the rebuild to succeed or fail so they can respond accordingly. Others think the company has already said everything it needs to say and simply does not care about online discussions. But both sides miss the most important point. Silence does not change the facts of engineering, effort, or outcome. The Chiron will either be fully rebuilt and proven roadworthy, or it will reach limits that cannot be solved without factory-level support. That final result will speak louder than any video, comment, or statement ever could. If Matt succeeds, it will be seen as a huge achievement in independent automotive rebuilding, showing what skill and determination can accomplish outside official systems. If he fails, it will highlight why manufacturers like Bugatti emphasize strict safety rules and control repair environments. In both cases, the conclusion will not depend on speculation but on reality. Bugatti's silence will either look like confidence or indifference depending on what happens next, but only time will decide which interpretation is correct. Until that moment arrives, the debate will continue online, the theories will grow, and the attention will stay fixed on every update from the rebuild. But eventually, the noise will fade, and only one thing will remain: the final condition of the car itself, which will become the real answer to everything people are arguing about today. What makes this story so powerful is not just the car, but the silence around it. In today's world, where every situation gets instant replies, statements, and reactions, silence feels unusual. That is why the response from Bugatti, or the lack of it, has created so much attention. It has turned a technical rebuild into a global discussion. People are no longer only watching a damaged Bugatti Chiron being restored. They are watching a battle of ideas, official engineering standards versus independent creativity, corporate control versus individual skill, and communication versus silence. This is what keeps the topic alive far beyond a normal automotive story. At the same time, Matt Armstrong continues to push forward, step by step, showing progress that many people once thought was impossible. Every part he removes, repairs, or replaces adds another layer to the debate. Supporters see determination and innovation. Critics see risk and overconfidence. And in the middle of all this, Bugatti remains silent, which only adds more weight to every new update. The silence almost becomes part of the story itself, as if it is a shadow following every stage of the rebuild. But in reality, this situation is not just about Bugatti or Matt. It reflects something bigger about modern media. Today, every action can become public content, and every silence can become a message. Companies, creators, and audiences are all part of the same cycle of attention and interpretation. Sometimes speaking too much creates problems. Sometimes saying nothing creates even more questions. This balance is what makes situations like this so interesting to watch. In the end, there will be no need for more theories or debates. The final condition of the Chiron will settle everything. Either it will stand as proof that determination and engineering skill can overcome extreme challenges, or it will confirm why certain machines require factory-level systems and expertise. Whatever the outcome, the story will leave a lasting impact on the automotive world and on how people view rebuild projects like this in the future. And when that moment comes, the silence that once felt confusing will finally make sense, because the answer was never in the words, but always in the result.